Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be checking out Xvixxivx World at War's historical inaccuracies by the Frosty one. Yes guys, now I know Loco Joe actually posted this in the Discord yesterday, I believe it was. I had this video recommended to me by YouTube last week, and I thought it'd be really interesting. You guys have heard me talk about it a lot on the channel before. World at War will always have a special place in my heart. It was the first COD game that I actually ever played, that I ever actually got into playing. It was World at War, Modern Warfare 2, and then Black Ops 1. That was the order for me, but I started off with World at War way back when I was way too young to be playing it, you know what I mean? And I have to say, that game, for what it was, and even back then, by today's standards even, one of the more realistic World War II games that you'll see. Now, in terms of the exactness of everything, not everything is historically accurate, and I'm sure like some of the uniforms, some of the equipment they use, definitely not historically accurate, but in terms of, man, and I say this again, the grittiness, the feeling, the reality of war that World at War tried to portray, it did such a phenomenal job of that. War felt fucking awful in World at War. It didn't feel cool. It didn't feel like you were some super soldier accomplishing a mission. It felt like you were a guy just trying to fucking make it, you know what I mean? Be it the Pacific Front, the Soviet, the Eastern Front, yeah, the whole game was just gritty, and I fucking really loved it. I played the entire game on stream here on the channel, so if you want to check that out, go check out my channel, and you can see the full stream, full campaign we did. But yeah, I'm excited to check this video out and see what the historical accuracies are going to be, because I don't know everything, right? As much as I claim myself to be a nerd, not the biggest one out there, of course. So we're gonna see for ourselves. If you guys enjoy the reactions, hit that like button, subscribe for more content from me, and of course, leave your recommendations down in the comments below. And big thank you to all of our members, of course. We're liked up, captions on, quality is 1440p. We're full screen, and without any further delay, guys, let's get it.
Call of Duty World at War is renowned, especially now, as a game of a great historical accuracy. But as we discussed before, although this game is authentic, it is not very historically accurate. But today we change that as we embark on the hundreds of...
And I think the way he described it is much better than how I summed it up. Authentic, not historically accurate. That's completely fair. I think that's, yeah. That sums up a much better explanation.
It is not very historically accurate, but today we change that as we embark on the hundreds of
he's got a mod.
And future details and corrections made in historical accuracy Fall of Berlin series of mods. We start first in the Pacific Theater.
I had no idea.
Modification during the Makin Island raid, where we will straight away notice the uniform change of Karl's Marine Raiders, or the 2nd Marine Raider Battalion. Instead of the anachronistic camo uniform, not introduced until a year after.
They wear black, don't they?
We see them correctly wearing the unique black-dyed USMC P1941 HBT uniforms, which were actually worn for this nighttime operation. We also see that their anachronistic 1944 USMC...
I was gonna say, also the grenades on his vest there too. Yeah, you see... Sorry.
Uniform not introduced until a year after this mission. We see them correctly wearing the unique...
Yeah, you see the yellow, the pineapple grenades he's got there too. I think that's also pretty realistic as well. And I always kind of wondered what the reason was for those yellow hand grenades, and all I could really think of, and like this probably isn't the reason, somebody please correct me when I'm wrong, I believe it's either for so you fucking know it's a live grenade, like you know it's a real, not a dummy, or because, again, if you're doing nighttime operations, why would you wear a bright yellow, why would you have a bright yellow implement grenade on you? Well, so you can fucking see it, right? That's my thought process behind it, right? Again, if you're in the pitch black of night, shit, you're fumbling for a grenade and everything's dark on your uniform, fuck, you know what I mean? And now you can't fucking, you know what I mean? Versus it's yellow, okay, there it is, you know? Like... That's my, but somebody let me know, please. It's probably not correct.
Black-dyed USMC P1941 HBT uniforms, which were actually worn for this nighttime operation. We also see that their anachronistic 1944 USMC utility caps are removed and replaced with green camo helmets mixed with regular ones, which is accurate to the actual raiders. They also have yellow grenades. This matches up with the fact that pre-World War II high-explosive build MK2s
pineapple grenades,
bright yellow. As you can imagine, this proved quite troublesome on the battlefield, as the enemy would easily be able to spot and avoid or throw back the grenades at the US forces. This led to them being changed in 1943 to just have a small yellow indicator band on them instead. All teammates throughout the campaign will...
So I'm assuming it's literally just for like indication, like, hey, this is a live fucking grenade. Because yeah, I always wondered, and I didn't know that was an early war thing, changed like mid-late war, you know what I mean? Like, I knew they were yellow at the start, but I didn't know the switch over, and I didn't know that they just started repainting them in 43. That's pretty interesting.
43 to just have a small yellow indicator band on them instead. All teammates throughout the campaign will receive increased accuracy to show that they are actually trained soldiers.
They're actually
and not
useful.
terrible buffoons like in the base game. And on top
literally.
of this, we get new unique face models, more surname variation, and the addition of the private first class rank for all Marines. Now for the Japanese forces, instead of the base game's army troops, they are now Navy soldiers to correspond with the 51st Guard Force of the 6th Yokosuka Special Naval
That's
Force,
on the left,
who were
yeah.
stationed on Makan Island during the actual raid.
Oh, that's really
Moving on-
cool. I really do appreciate the detail to like specific units and whatnot, and like the time period correct uniforms. That's fucking really cool. They got their regimental markings and stuff as well. That's fucking
Yokosuka Special Naval
That's pog,
Force,
man.
who were
That's
stationed
awesome.
on Makan Island during the actual raid. Moving on to the even further brilliant modifications of the Pacific Theater, we can see the Marines of the 1st Marine Division wearing more authentic greenish uniforms as well as
Wow.
accurate new beach camo helmets. Just like how
I almost
these
wanna
mod
try these
developers
mods
went out of their
out.
way to remove the medical insignia for the corpsmen to accurately depict how it was recommended to not be worn, as it only made them stand out to enemy forces. Powerful,
Literally.
as in the increased damage output among certain weapons, particularly with the semi-automatic weapons, to match with the power of their real-life counterparts. Similar to how this game's mod is
That was one thing that annoyed me when you play World at War. The Garand, fucking, you got to shoot somebody like 2-3 times to bring them down. Like, brother, that's a 30-odd, I think 30-odd 6. Is it 30-odd 6? Or am I fucked up? I'm pretty sure 30-odd 6. Lee Enfield's 303. But either fucking way, you're going down if you get hit by that motherfucker. That is a big round, you know what I'm saying? In fact, you got to hit someone 3 times with that is a joke.
semi-automatic weapons to match with the power of their real-life counterparts. Similar to how this game's mod is commendable for correcting the name of the M1A1 carbine into the M1 carbine and changing the ammo and magazine capacity of the M1A1 Thompson, M1897 trench gun, Type 99 and M1911 to match their real-life counterparts. Before appreciating that this mod adds that teammates using LMGs will now correctly have support gunner on their name tag overlays, and the reload time of the M9 bazooka is adjusted to be more accurately longer, and noting that this mod includes more realistic custom textures for weapons like the Arasaka Type 100, M1 carbine, M1897 and BAR. For the Imperial Japanese Army troops, which are based on the 14th Infantry Division for the Peleliu missions and the 32nd Army for the Okinawa missions, they receive further uniform modifications. The M-Sign infantry and tank chest marking is now removed to match with
Infantry and
the fact that
tanks
this
not
insignia
worn
stopped
after
being worn
1940.
1940. A new
Okay.
helmet with headband for Japanese in the Okinawa missions is added, as well as changes in details to the regular headband, since the vanilla ones seem to be more suitable with kamikaze pilots rather than ground forces. They also
Yeah, that was another thing I actually kind of knew too, was that the base game head wraps that the Japanese use, they're all like kamikaze headbands, which is a bit sus because I think the Japanese wore like a variety of different headbands, all with different like meanings essentially, right? And some were like the bonsai, the kamikaze headbands, of course, but others just meant like fair winds. Others meant like they meant all types of shit. I think there was like what 10, 20 of them or something like that. Somebody let me know.
Since the vanilla ones seem to be more suitable with kamikaze pilots rather than ground forces. They also receive loadout changes, particularly with the upping of the amount of Arasaka rifles and Type 99 LMGs, together with the lessening of numbers of Type 100s, since the Type 100 was actually quite rare during World War II, with only a few thousand of them ever being in service at that time.
True.
The dates shown in Black Cats, as well as Blowtorch and Corkscrew's intro, are now removed, since they do not match up with the Operation Kokusi and the capturing of Warner Ridge that they are trying to depict in the vanilla
Oh,
game.
I didn't know that.
And for the Pacific campaign's final mission, Breaking Point, we have a color change of Shuri Castle to match its actual color during that time, since the original castle seemed to be based on a 1992 reconstruction in the base game. And the Japanese mortars we capture will now be...
Okay, I didn't know that either. They based the temple at the end there off of the reconstructed, not the original. Huh. I had no idea. Again, it's really cool to learn all these like nuances. This is a game I've been playing fucking forever, you know what I mean?
Based on a 1992 reconstruction in the base game, and the Japanese mortars we capture will now be based on the Japanese Type 100 81mm mortars rather than the American M43A1.
Yeah, I thought that was weird. I thought that was weird too. Those are American mortars you throw.
Eastern Front campaign. We begin in Vendetta, the Battle of Stalingrad. Firstly, we can notice minor changes to the Soviet troops of the 62nd Army, such as the removal of buttons on the uniform collar to make it more resemble the era-appropriate M35 uniform tunic, as well as the change of Reznov's collar to now have the correct 1940 to 1943 version of sergeant rank insignia.
That's
we also
very
see
cool.
the replacement of the Commissioner's star belt buckle on all the Red Army soldiers with a more appropriate standard buckle, along with new ranks for Soviet troops such as Jefreuter and Junior Sergeant, and the removal of the corporal, as well as more variations to surname and face models. Now for the German 6th Army, we have...
See, I don't know anything about Russian ranks or anything like that, so I wasn't able to catch on to any of those, unfortunately, you know. But again, very, very cool details. I assumed the Russian uniforms were a little bit more flashy than they should have been. That's what I always assumed. I didn't know in what ways, but that makes a lot of sense. Like the buttons, removal of buttons, proper insignia, right? Getting rid of the corporal rank. Again, I don't know what any of the ranks would be, but very, very cool, historically accurate detail that they're portraying there.
As well as more variations
These are
to
very
surname
cool
and
mods.
face models. Now for the German 6th Army, we have greener tunics for hair troops to more accurately depict the mix of grey and green field grau colour of their uniforms. We also have further variations for German models, helmet and rank insignia, so that they're not all just privates like they were in the base game. The removal of the M43 field cap, which had not been introduced yet in Stalingrad. The removal of the tricolour insignia of the German Empire, which had stopped being worn after 1940.
Yeah, that was also weird.
Like German knives, and of course much needed face variations and a slightly better uniform for General Amsel. As for
yeah, the face details for the German soldiers in World at War, it was literally like you're fighting the same guy and he just looks like a generic like fucking bad guy Nazi, you know what I mean? Like straight up, he just looks like the most generic Nazi you could ever imagine, like straight up, you know. So it's very, very cool that they added details. And I have to say too, for this mission specifically, I don't know if this is all faces or if it's just for this mission, I noticed a lot of guys had facial hair, right? German army troops had facial hair and whatnot, like they looked overgrown. Very, very cool detail then, because as we know with Stalingrad, they got fucking encircled, they got surrounded, they got crushed eventually, right? The average troop ain't worried about shaving when you're entirely fucking cut off. Shaving is the last of your worries. So it's very cool that it shows a bit of like gruff, you know, growing on the faces of those soldiers too.
Of course, much needed face variations and a slightly better uniform for General Amsel. As for weapons, we have the addition of the Soviet DP-28, which name was also changed to DP-27, as DP-28 is a name that is widely known among Westerners, but Russians usually prefer to call it DP-27. We also have the introduction of the Kart98.
I didn't know that. I always called it the DP-28 too. That's very weird.
Mauser Nugant, changed from the vanilla version into a proper German #1 version, since Soviet factions actually use the same scope overlay as the German side during the war, while the Kart98AK with scope will use the German #4 instead. New or modified textures for some weapons like the Kart98AK, MP40, MG42, Molotov cocktails, Mauser Nugant, PPSH-41, FVT-40, PTRS, and DP-27 have been added, and we will see some of the German soldiers will be equipped with captured PPSH-41s and a few FVT-40s
I see that, yeah.
as well, to match how this would often happen in reality on the
Absolutely.
Eastern Front. On top of this, we have 71st Infantry Division.
And honestly, again, the PPSHs, especially, you know, in Stalingrad, depending on the environment, of course, stealing a PPSH, if you get the chance, absolutely would make 100% sense as a German soldier during that time, right? Again, the most you're getting really as a German soldier at that point in terms of like personal weapon is maybe an MP40, you know what I mean? Most guys are getting K98. So if you're swapping a K98 for PPSH in a close quarters environment, 100% a fucking step up. And again, they had those drum belts, right? Those 71 round drum belts for those fucking things. Man, those ripped in fucking Tor. Let me tell you, like, it really astounds me, right? Just with like how far the German army got with their lack of small arms supremacy. Now, of course, they had machine guns like the MG34, MG42, those types of things, right? That was like the cream of the crop. The rest of the time, man, MP40s, K98s for the most part. You know, STGs, very limited number. FGs, very, very limited numbers. You know what I mean? They didn't really have great small arms going for them, I will say.
That's how this would often happen in reality.
Comparatively, right? Like you compare a K98 to a Garand.
71st Infantry Division,
no comparison.
And a period-accurate Dunkelgrau, German for dark grey, textures and German SD KFZ 251 half trucks, 24th Panzer Division insignia and Dunkelgrau texture for Panzer IVs, along with Dunkelgrau textures for open blitz trucks and flak 88s, and best of all, the anachronistic Rex of the Tiger II tanks, not introduced until 19 1944
Yeah, what
have
the
been
fuck,
replaced
that
with more
irritated
accurate
me
Panzer
too.
IV Rex instead.
Yeah.
Now for the rest of the Eastern Front campaign, which
I do recall that one too, seeing the King Tiger Rex in Stalingrad, and I'm like, what the fuck? This tank hasn't been invented for like another year and a half, 2 years. Like, what are we talking about
replaced
here?
with more accurate Panzer IV Rex instead.
Now for the rest of the Eastern Front campaign, which will be played mostly by the main mod of this series, Fall of Berlin, things get even more detailed, particularly in the German units, as we now
Wow.
see more variations of Heer soldiers in both the Battle of Seelow Heights and Berlin, which are based on multiple actual units, such as the 309th Infantry
Wow.
Division, the 25th Panzer Grenadier Division in Seelow Heights, the Panzer Division Muckeberg, 18th Panzer Grenadier Division, and 20th Panzer Grenadier Division in both Seelow Heights and Berlin. We also see the introduction of SS units, which were created, along with other units, by using original cut content from the game's main version. They are based on the foreign volunteered 11 SS Nordland Panzer Grenadier Division, mostly comprised of Scandinavian SS,
Scandinavian
with
SS.
Belgium/Flemish and some Eastern European countries. Hence the flag insignia, which represents the Norway and Denmark regiments under arms. This unit exists.
That's actually so cool. It's so fucking cool that it actually has all that decal and detailing on it. That is so neat. Why did they cut that? And I guess they cut like SS troops for like probably like politically correct reasons, if I had to assume. But damn, like that looks just so much more authentic. You know what I mean? Like I get it, but also shit, if you're gonna make a World War II game, yeah, go out all out like that. Why not? Like that looks fantastic, man.
Berlin battles. The first SS and Halt
The attention to detail is insane. Also the uniform variation.
Munke and Babik in Berlin.
They didn't always all wear grey.
Division Muckeberg, which was originally SS personnel. Around 600 SS men from the 1st SS Leibstandarte Division in Berlin. Other foreign volunteer units like a company of Latvian SS from the 15th SS Waffen Grenadier Division and the French SS of the SS Storm Battalion
Charlemagne's is there too,
along with some other various SS units in Berlin. Also, it is important to note that the models with French insignia will appear only in Eviction, as to represent the French SS that participated in the defense of central Berlin. However,
that makes sense, yeah, and a lot of people don't realize that either, right? French SS was like literally the last, like, I think, division or regiment holding the Reichstag at the end there, I'm pretty sure, holding like making their last stand, essentially. I'm pretty sure it was at the Reichstag. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were there. I think that was like the only real division besides like hodgepodge, like, you know, broken up regiments and divisions, whatever, that like amassed there to defend, right? But the main majority was Charlemagne, I'm pretty sure.
In Eviction, as to represent the French SS that participated in the defense of central Berlin. However, they won't appear in the later Reichstag mission due to the fact that what was left of them were actually defending the Reich Chancellery area at that time,
the
and
Chancellery,
not the Reichstag, which is largely misunderstood by several history enthusiasts. We also have
there you go.
Which were also cut content. These were fresh recruits of undertrained and under-equipped armed citizens.
The young, the weak.
As Reslav refers to them, based on several Volkssturm units in Seelow and Berlin who will also receive older and younger looking face models. Additionally, there is also Hitler Youth, based on several Hitler Jungen units in Seelow and Berlin. Note that the younger looking facial models are used in this unit. And on top of this, we also have Fallschirmjäger paratroopers, based on paratroopers of the 9th Fallschirmjäger Division, as well as Luftwaffe Air Force infantry, based on those who are filled in.
That's so fucking cool. I'm really loving the actual fucking uniform variation here, right? Like Fallschirmjägers, you get to see their late war camo patterns, the Luftwaffe divisions. I'd be surprised. And again, the only thing that sucks is you don't see any of the Mariners in here, because I know what is it, Kriegsmarine also, you know, after their fucking navy got obliterated, they also started forcing some of the Kriegsmarine sailors into frontline combat, right? Because that's what it fucking came to. You pick up a rifle and start shooting, right? So fucking cool to see the blue of the Luftwaffe uniforms. That is awesome. Great work.
Axis defending force in both Seelow and Berlin battles. Speaking of which, the actual existence of these Luftwaffe units in the northern parts of Berlin during the beginning phase of the Battle of Berlin is the reason why you need to install the Ring of Steel, Abandon All Hope mod to play the Ring of Steel mission, since the mod will feature quite a lot of Luftwaffe units, which were also mixed in with others like Heer and Volkssturm units as well. We will also see a few soldiers of the Feldjäger Corps, which was a military police
organization formed in the later stages of the war to curb the mounting amount of desertion and to maintain discipline in the Wehrmacht. And finally we have a Kriegsmarine Naval Infantry, based on the Post Admiral Donitz Battalion, which were sent by the Grand Admiral himself and reached Berlin at April 25th
literally.
and 26th.
That's so fucking
they were
cool.
Only
What?
in the Reichstag mission, as based on certain historical
That's so
information,
cool.
which
I was
suggests
literally
that they were
talking
one
about
of the
that.
Reichstag defenders, together with SS and some other units as well. Also note that the SS Honor Guard uniform has been removed to make room for Hitler Youth and Naval Infantry units. Plus the fact that black Honor Guard uniforms had already been phased out since 1942 and replaced by regular field SS tunics. For the Soviet 3rd Shock Army troops, we see that they have further variation, such as wool padded jackets, which is one of their winter uniforms, which you may think should not be the case since these missions take place during late spring. However, looking at real historical photos and videos proves this to be the case. Reznov now has a new way.
No, again, and in the Soviets at that point, again, if you're getting clothing resupplied, you're lucky. No, otherwise you're you're using what you got, you know what I mean? And I don't think they really got like proper clothing after a certain point. It was just kind of like, yeah, remove layers if you're fucking too hot, bitch. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what, you know? That's awesome.
So looking at real historical photos and videos proves this to be the case. Reznov now has a new M43 uniform style color tab, and of course we also have further variations of facial models with the addition of Asian soldiers to acknowledge the Asian ethnic minorities in the Red Army. Now for the weapons, on top of the aforementioned points in Vendetta, we will see the introduction of the FG42 with a scope, an upping of the amount of Kar 90 AKs being used. A few FG42s will appear in the hands of paratroopers, but also Waffen SS units due to limited model arrangements, edited ammo and magazine capacity for the MG42 and FG42 to match their real-life counterparts, adjusted reload times of the MG42 and Panzerschreck to be longer, and the American M9 bazooka in Downfall is replaced by a Panzerschreck. Further additions include German half-tracks with Nordland insignia, era-appropriate textures for canned food, new textures for German propaganda posters, the sign for the non-existent town of Vendy is replaced with a sign of an actual local town in the northern part of Silo Heights, while Zugsstation, which is a terrible German translation for train station, is blurred out, but note that it will be changed into Bahnhof for future updates. Signposts in Ring of Steel are also changed to match with the northern Berlin districts, while U-Bahn signposts, which are based on several U-Bahn stations in the central part of Berlin, together with extra textures from manual installation, are available too. On top of this, we also have the removal of the dates in Ring of Steel, Blood and Iron, and Eviction's intro, since they are not appropriate to the events depicted. The replacement of the Reichstag at the end of Ring of Steel with regular Berlin buildings, as the Reichstag was not located anywhere near Pankow, Berlin, which this mission is located in.
Yeah,
and
that's
finally,
fair.
we have the introduction of a more accurate Victory Banner flag raised atop of the Reichstag, based on Victory Banner number 5, which is one of the official flags raised atop of the building at the midnight between April 30th and May 1st, 1945, which was claimed to have survived the artillery and mortar bombardment, and a couple of days later the Soviets then removed this flag before adding inscriptions on it and sending it to Moscow, where it remains to this day. According to this mod's creators, which include GI Combat, Verizon, Panzerman, and Warrior 300, all the mods within this series will receive new updates in the future, with several additional changes, such as a new uniform for Commissioner Markov, since he should be a political officer, since the term Commissioner ceased to exist after 1942, date removal for a hard landing and burn them out, aforementioned complete changes on Zug Station sign, the fixing of the hammer and sickle on Soviet headgear so it is not backwards, changing the rare golden party badge.
I never noticed that. Really?
Sickle on Soviet headgear.
I never fucking noticed that the hammer and sickle is actually backwards on their caps. I never fucking realized that. Wow.
So
holy shit, I must be asleep.
Changing the rare golden party badges on some of the models into regular party membership badges, changing head model arrangements for Hitler Youth units, add and change more details for some German models, and the crows in Vendetta will be changed to look more like Eastern European hooded crows, while the remaining crow models will be the Western European carrion crows. Better yet, they are involved in an even bigger project, which is still a work in progress, known as the MAM mod, which will introduce even greater details, such as the removal of the side armor on the Panzer IV tanks, since they were a feature of the Aus H/J variants introduced a year after the Vendetta mission. New custom, more accurate level descriptions, and variations of character models such as these custom rendered Soviet snappers and female Red Army soldiers, as well as new custom weapons like the 1912 shotgun, M3 grease gun, M19 revolver, M11 shotgun, M50 Rising, Type 38, ZV26, MP41, MP38, Scoped STG-44, Flammenwerfer 35, MP28, MG34, scoped Gewehr 43, M1928 with 50 round drum mag, P08 Luger, Mauser Model 712, PPS 43,
look how many guns they're adding,
as well as loads of other awesome additional stuff. And on top
that
of
is
this,
sick. And I have to say too, a lot of those guns should be in a World War II game. Like, you're telling me you're playing a game of World War II on the American side, and there ain't no such thing as a grease gun. You know what I mean? Like, stuff like that. You know what I mean? It should definitely have been in the game, but great that these guys are adding it after the fact. That is so cool. And so long after. I'm so surprised that, and I know this video was uploaded, what? Let's just see here. 2 years ago now. Wow. This game came out, what, 2008, 2007, something like that. It came out a long time ago, and still they're modding it. You know what I mean? People are still modding it. That is fucking amazing. Good for them. Good for them keeping this game alive.
And Volksgewehr, as well as loads of other awesome additional stuff. And on top of this, I myself have been in direct contact with these mod developers and researchers who have teamed up with me to help in consulting and gathering more historical information in the making of past and future videos for this channel's historical inaccuracy series as well. So absolutely massive thanks to these talented creators. The links to their socials,
they're serious about it.
Shown in this video will be in the description. If you wish to see our last video where we listed every historical inaccuracy in Call of Duty World at War, then click on screen now and I'll see you there to compare and see how many inaccuracies listed in that video were fixed with this mod. Please consider liking, subscribing, or even becoming a channel member. This has been the Frosty One, out.
That was awesome, I have to say. And props to those mod developers for actually putting the time in. Again, all these years later, a game that I didn't think would be really heavily modded, or like people would be really interested in like updating, I guess, in a sense. Great on them for putting all those details in there, adding new weapons, adding all the fucking unit markings and whatnot. Like, again, that the amount of research that takes for it to be as accurate as it can be, that takes so much work, so much time. And big props to the Frosty One here too for being in contact with them and actually working with them, right? It's not just like criticizing. No, it's like, you know, I know this isn't how it's supposed to be. This is how it should be. Okay, we're going to work together. I want your fucking input on it. That's great. That's great. A great relationship between both parties there. And I'm really, really happy that this game is actually still getting looked after, you know, for lack of a better word. Yeah, this video was great. If you guys enjoyed this reaction, hit that like button, subscribe for more content from me. And of course, leave your recommendations down in the comments below what you guys want me to check out next. Without any further delay, big thank you to all of our members, all of our Hastati, our Triarii, our Principe, Dagenhart, and of course, our Praefectus and Hobbit. I appreciate you guys. And without any further delay, this has been Centurion. See you guys in the next one. Peace, guys.